I love theatre. It's in England. It's so important because it gives you the building blocks for everything, and you learn so much. Especially, I was incredibly lucky because my first job was Disney's Beauty and the Beast. I literally graduated, and then 5 weeks later got into the number one show in the West End, and it was an older cast. Everybody was really experienced and had gone through the motions and done so much, and I learned everything from them. They were amazing. I was working with people like Barry James, who people won't know him, but in the musical theatre world they will do. And he created Seymour in Little Shop of Horrors, and he did all the Les Mis shows, Les Miserables. He's like a legend, and I used to chat to him every day, and learn by osmosis. And that's why I think that theatre is so important, because you get out there, and TV and theatre is so different, because TV is so more compact and focused, and you have to it's like a flame. You have to burn quickly and then it off again, and then and conserve it, whereas theatre, it's a slow burner. It's like you cook it instead. It's like a slow cooking rather than flame roasting. And you have to, and it's amazing because you learn endurance and a different type of focus, and to be able to reach an audience from far away. I trained in everything. I trained in singing, dancing, acting, and also writing. And I went, people that my contemporaries, peers, they were what I class as singers. They were like pretty amazing. So I can sing, but when I compare myself to my friends who are all like doing working job actors and doing amazing stuff, I don't compare to them.
Have you had a singing role yet?
Oh yeah. In all my shows, yeah. We always sing. You have to
no,
be.
like in movies, sorry. I mean.
In movies, no. I've done. I've danced in a lot of them, and I came close a couple of times in some big movies as well, for getting them. But then I have bad luck. The casting director changed, and they got their own people in. So yeah, so I've never sung in a movie. No, I don't think. Yeah.
That'd be exciting. I want to see it.
Didn't you do Duran?
Yeah, actually, I did an indie movie called Elevator Gods, and it's about Duran Duran tribute band. Well, it's about tribute bands from the 80s, and there's this massive competition, and I'm in the Duran Duran one, and I play Simon Le Bon. I had to dye my hair blonde and everything. It was a really good little project, and I think they're kind of just putting it all together now. It should be out anytime soon, but that was a really good project. That was my first big role that I did in a film, a big one, a really meaty one, and it was a comedy as well, so it was very different to what I've usually done.
I want to see that. That'd be so classic.
It's so wrong. It's like, imagine the Full Monty, and some crazy comedy as well. It's like really weird humor, but funny. It's very different now in England because now that the film industries, like the film distributors have kind of gone under, a lot of them, it's hard for indies to get their films out a lot more. Whereas before you had more of a chance of, if you filmed it, of it getting out. Now it's a little bit more difficult because all the doors are closed. The ways to get in over there are closed, so it's a lot harder. I mean, if you've still got the money and you're with a production company, a big production company, then yeah, but like smaller ones, they're finding it really difficult.
So it takes money to get money pretty much.
Yeah, kind of money and influence and a network. If you don't have that, it's a lot more difficult. And Pete, the director, has found it difficult to get it out there, even though it's a really good little project. And I know I shouldn't, but I actually like doing it. I saw the editor, and I snuck in and had a look at some of his stuff, which most actors aren't allowed to. And I thought it was fantastic. Me and Stuart, who was a guy who's done a lot of TV in England and a lot of films, he's in a film called Dead Man's Shoes. I don't know if you've seen that one. It's pretty amazing film, and it's a huge film, and we both snuck in and watched some of the stuff, and it was amazing. Really, really
So
funny. Yeah, just bad though, like comedy humor that it's really on the nail, really naughty.
I think it's the same as like Australian humor's really,
Yeah.
really like tense like that. Like,
Yeah.
I found some Americans don't get
They,
Australian
yeah,
humor at all.
but
Like,
Brits do. We get Australia. I love Australian films as well. They're indies and stuff. I used to love all those
good
stuff.
comedies.
Yes.
Like, the humor is pretty like distraught.
Yeah.
It's pretty intense.
It's kind of really sly humor as well, because it's
You've gotta
really
get it.
throwaway, and it's deadpan, and a lot. I've got to be so careful in America, because I say stuff to people and they think I'm being rude, and I'm like, and then I'm like, I'm only joking. And they're like really offended, and I'm like, they get to know me, and I have to remember, because the thing is, well, in England, I'm sure it's like the same in Australia. We only like take the mickey, have a joke with them if we like them, and so if I don't do that, then it's because I don't like you, basically, but yeah, it's that crazy thing, it's the attack because you like them. I know,
I
but,
get you.
yeah.
So, where did you study?
I studied
What made you come over here?
I started acting when I was a kid, and I always did it, and I had an amazing acting teacher in middle school who called Mr. Oakley, who really pushed me to do more acting and stuff, and I did like local theatre, and then I went to a stage school for acting called Stage 84. And I started doing loads of plays and did the Edinburgh Festival, and it was by accident. And I went for an audition for a show called Gypsy. It was for a tour, and I was supposed to go for a little part. And they sent me to the full singing, dancing, acting thing. And I was too shy, so I didn't say anything, and I just went along and did the audition. And I was like, oh my God. And then I booked it, and I was like, and it was against all these professionals, and it was all by accident. So I did the job, and then I thought, maybe I should look into that. So I started training in everything, and I got a scholarship at the Bradford Dance Centre, and so I did singing, dancing, acting, and then I got scholarships to all these other dancing places as well. But then I realised I didn't want to just do that. I wanted to continue with everything. So I got a scholarship to London Studio Centre, and I studied there, and then I transferred to a place called Millennium Dance 2000, all on scholarship, for my third year, which was amazing, because on the first day there was only 4 of us, and we had the best teachers from all around, everywhere, and who would give us one-on-one training. Like when I graduated, there was 17 of us in the school, maximum. It was, yeah. And I was with some of the most influential people in the business. And so they came to see me and saw what I could do. So literally that's why I graduated, and weeks later started working, then went from job to job to job. I was so lucky. I really was. And I was so lucky to have had that experience, and to be able to do that as well. No, I studied in New York. I got a scholarship to study in New York at the School of Film and Television, which is now the New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts, and that was great. And they said to me that I should come to America because I had a talent, on camera as well, which I'd done bits and bobs, but I was always frightened of the camera. Just because it wasn't my comfort zone, and I realised I could do it, so I had the opportunity. I could get my visa, so I just thought, why not? I don't want to be like 60 years old and wish I'd done something, regret. I don't want that. So I said, I told everybody that I was going, and some of my friends were like, why are you doing that? It's even harder in America. Why would you do that? And I was like, because I want to, and I'm going to do it. So I started saving and I got my visa and I went over to America, and it's been brilliant. It's been amazing, and there is no preparation for it because it's totally different to England. It's so much faster, and within weeks your career can change. You know, and which I've some of my friends, it's already happened. You know, one week you're being a waiter at a restaurant, and the next week you've just got this amazing contract and so much money, and you're doing everything that you've ever dreamed. And I like how America has that idea that the little man can become big, and they like to discover you. They want the next thing. Whereas in England, I found, I don't know whether it's a class system or just our idea, is that they like you to be in your box, and you stay in your box and you don't move. And they don't like people who try to get out of that box. You know, because my problem was, and they kept on telling me all the way through my career, you need to choose what you're doing. And I'm like, why? Where's the rules telling me that I have to do that? I like doing everything, so I'm going to do everything, you know.
What's been your biggest project to date in America?
In America, Starship, definitely. Yeah. And it was all by accident as well. I bumped into Neil, and he came up and he said, "Are you an actor?" And I went, "Yeah." And he said, "Okay, have you got a demo?" And I went, "Yeah." And he said, "Send me it." So I sent him it, and then the next day he phoned me up and said, "Okay, I want to meet up with you and just see what you like, and because I've got a project that I think you're right on." And I was like, "Okay, cool." Right. And then met up, and he said, "Okay, this is probably going to be your spaceship in the movie." And I was like, what? And then it just ran ahead, and it was, because people always, I've met so many people that are like, "Yeah, I'm going to do this. I've got this project." And you're like, yeah. And then it actually happened, and it was amazing. But before that, before we did Starship, we did Death Machine as well. So I knew it was definitely going to happen. And Death Machine was a time travel one.
So how did the Rsing get you prepared for Death Machine and Starship?
Rsing was... I'm really lucky because all the way through my career, I've had the most amazing experiences, and every job that I've ever done has been fantastic, and I've learned something from it. I always try to learn something with every job that I do, but I think that for me, the Rsing, working with the Rsing was the best experience I've ever had, because I was working with amazing people who I've had the best experience, but they teach you so much, and they looked after you, and it was just a different mentality. And like I would go there, and we also had I worked with some of the famous voice coaches and Shakespearean coaches one-on-one. So it was just like, not only am I in Stratford upon Avon and their main theatre, doing the jobs that I always wished with my director, was the actual artistic director of the company as well. So, and I'm doing one-on-ones with these amazing voice teachers and stuff. They really looked after us, and I learned so much and really cherished my time there. It was pretty amazing, and just it was what was good about working there was we had a very long rehearsal period, and a lot of the times when you have long rehearsal periods, you kind of veer off and you're not focused. But with this one, they taught you to be so specific within your acting, and it's just taught me so much. Really invaluable experience.
It shows, because everyone was talking about how professional and how strict you are. You get in your zone, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really am professional, because in that way, because I've been in so many shows and projects where you don't have the time, you just got to get on with it. But I think I can mix it with having fun as well. I mean, when we've got really important scenes, I'm really in it, but I a lot of the time would be messing around, and then there'd be like sound speed, and I'd be like, right, focus, boom, into it. But I think you have to have the fun as well as be able to switch on straight away. Like, you know, otherwise it's just going to be so boring. And we're lucky I'm not punching numbers. I'm not at a computer screen 10 hours a day, you know, doing that. We're doing this with all these people who are artists. And so, you know, you've got to have the fun, but then you've got to be able to pack the punches when you have to as well. So
what was it like working on Starship compared to other movie sets, like working with Neil, for example?
It was really fast. It was really fast, and we were doing 2 movies at the same time. So one day, literally one scene would be doing the beginning of Starship 1, and then 10 minutes later you might be doing the end of Starship 2, and then after that you'll be in the middle of the first one. And it was great, but you had, well, I don't know whether you had to be, but I forced myself to be totally on it in my head, knowing because I was the lead in it. I put a lot of pressure on myself that I had to know exactly what I was doing, my lines, be totally not have looking at scripts, go in there, be leading it, you know. So it was great, but it was really draining. Like by the end, it was long days, and but it was fantastic people. And it was good because Neil really started to get me, and he knows that my first few takes are usually my best. So he likes to do my scenes first. You know, like have the camera on me first, because like some people like to warm into it. It's different with me. I like just getting into my head there and then, and responding and reacting, you know, there. So it's so, which is really difficult, actually, different, should I say, because as a theatre actor, it's the other way around. But I like doing it really quick. But I loved it. I think Starship, the set was really professional, but you had a laugh. You really did have a laugh, and everybody was great. You know, it picked some really good core actors to work with who gave you a lot, and everybody went with it, you know, because I love sci-fi, I love fantasy. A lot of people, when it comes to things like that and green screen, they find it really difficult to, if they don't have an anchor. Whereas in green screen, you don't really have an anchor. The only anchor is your imagination and the people around you. And we had a good team of people that went with that, and we all really I know it sounds really wanky, but we really trusted each other and went with each other, and it really worked. You know, it was a good company to work with, a really good company.
So you're looking forward to Starship 3 and 4 if it were to happen?
Yeah, I had a really good time on it, yeah, and we've done some pickups and stuff like that, and it's you know, like months after you've filmed the original stuff and you're doing pickups, and everything's just seems like straight away that no time's elapsed at all, and it's just carrying on, and so it's a great experience. You know, if you like something, why wouldn't you want to go back to it? Actually, it's a bit scary because you want it to live up to what you did before. So yeah, so it's a double-edged sword, really. Yeah.
So as I've been told, you hadn't really done a kissing scene before on camera.
Yes.
And what was it like when you were kissing Brooke? Because your neck went a little bit
underneath the makeup.
All on your neck.
You could see. Well, it was funny because we were doing it, and of course, the first day of the shoot, the first day, and he puts me in the bed with Brooke. And it was funny because she's like chatting, and I was like, whatever. So she's chatting to Neil with her back to me, and then I just go strip off, and she turns around and she's like, oh right, so it's going to be like that. And so we got on really well, and then we were doing all this stuff, and then Neil just said on this one take, okay, just go for it, do whatever you want to do. And so I thought, well, I'll see what she's going to be like. She seems like, you know, she's up for it. We'll see. So I went for it, and then she went for it, and then the cameras were rolling, and he just kept it rolling, and he said pick it up and do it again. So we just carried on from where we were, and it was kind of crazy, yeah. And we were doing lots of stuff, and Neil was laughing. I could see him out of the corner of my eye, just going, "Okay, yeah."
Especially the pink graph, the massive
Yeah, the
boobs,
pink bar,
in
the
front of
boobs
me.
in my face and stuff. Yeah, and I realised that she was game, and she was having a laugh, and she was up for it. So I did some things like licking her neck and breasts, which a lot of actresses probably wouldn't want you to do, and but we kind of knew each other, and we were working together, so it was fine. But she was giving just as much as she was getting there, so she was going for it. So it was great. It was fun, and yes, it's so funny. Neil did mention the fact that my neck went bright red underneath all the makeup, and started sweating.
Why was that? Why were you nervous?
No, I don't know. I think you're just getting into it, really.
Is that what happens when you get into it?
Well, yeah, your temperature does rise a little bit.
So what about like kissing Emmy?
Yeah, that was funny. We were messing around for the first kiss, and there was and we were doing all this stuff, and like I'd just, because we weren't taking, we were just like setting up, and I'd be doing stuff like, and I'd grab her, and I'd be crossing my eyes and sticking my tongue in her mouth and stuff like that, and she's like having a real laugh. And I remember one of the pictures where I'm doing something with her, and somebody snapped a picture of us like kissing, and it went on the internet, and people were like, "Oh my god, they're not really kissing. You can tell they're not doing all this." And I'm like, I've got my eyes crossed like that, and looking at her and making her laugh, and I'm like, yeah, we're really not. But that was fun. It was another one. Emmy's a cool girl. I really like Emmy, and she it was just really easy. Apart from the lip gloss, she's applying all this lip gloss just before we do it, and it's like smeared all over my face. And after every take, I'm just like, and she's laughing and putting more on because she thinks it's funny. So yeah, no lip gloss.
I'm really trying not to laugh. I don't need to.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
And so you got your tooth cracked.
Yeah, that was a funny one, because we were doing. I was more worried about, because he's got all this big, huge armor, and we're doing all this fighting, and you're getting into it. And I think it was the very last take of the last take, and we just did it one more time. And I think he pushed too hard, and I went down. His knee connected with my jaw, and I was spitting out teeth. Yeah, so cracked loads of little things there. But the thing was, we needed to get it done, and we had to be on time. We had to get everything going. So I was just like, Neil came up, and he's like, "What is it?" And I'm going, and I'm spitting bits out, and he's like, and Neil's like, "Oh no, oh no, oh no, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay." I'm just like kind of like shocked, because when you feel it, it feels like a huge gap is missing from your teeth. And I went, "Do you know what? We'll deal with this later. Let's just get it in the can, get it all done. We could sort all that out, because you're in a rush. Let's move. Let's keep moving." And Neil was like, "Okay, cool, yeah." So Neil really appreciated that. But
hence that comes down to professionalism, I think.
yeah, well, yeah, it's just like, no, I don't know if it's professional, if it's just like no dramas, just get on with it. What was it going to change within the next hour? With my teeth cracked, so what? Okay, move on. Let's get it done. I can sort that out when it's done.
Anything else embarrassing happen on set?
Loads of things. I can't remember. It all went. There was loads. I think I was terrified in one of the scenes that we did with the. They had these guns that shot these, like it was when we were ramming another spaceship, and there was this thing just near my head that was firing something there, and it was like, it's going to be a light explosion, dust. And they were like, and it exploded, and you see absolute terror on my face, because he just goes past me. I was like ugh. I think that was hilarious. That was a good one. There was always falling. There was mild hysteria. There was cracking sets and walking into things, and EJ pulling things apart, and Emmy ripping things off the set by accident. Both of them two were just as bad as each other for tearing the set apart. Just a lot of tired people that were having fun on it. I can't even think now. There's loads of them. I'm sure everybody else will delight in telling you all of the other ones.
So everyone else, I heard about this overseer.
Yes.
That you went through 2 or 3 of them or something.
Yeah, we
like
went
that.
through a series of overseers.
What was your opinion on the first overseer? Because everyone was a bit iffy about him. It was quite high maintenance, he seemed.
Well, I didn't really get to know him that well, but it was an interesting few hours that I had with him. He got fired on my first day with him, and he'd shot a lot of stuff already prior to it, but I can't really say what he was as a person, but I can say professionalism. If you commit to one job, you don't commit to another one. It's basic thing in England. I can't say about America, I don't know, but if you take one job and maybe the job of your dreams comes up and you have a rider in your contract to get you out of the contract, then fine. If you don't and you've committed to one thing, then you commit to that one. And I was just really shocked that somebody would waste like 3 days of filming on an indie film at that, and then say, oh, by the way, I've got another job. I'm not available all these other dates, and which is, I think it's not only it's kind of disrespectful to the director and the cast and everybody, you know. And I don't know what it looked like, the stuff coming from him. He looked creepy. He really did look creepy. So that was good, because that's his character. He's a character actor. But I don't know what we were getting from him. But that was, I felt like there was only one thing that kind of let that production down, and that was it. That was the only thing.
So what about Ralph? You guys had quite a good connection there.
I loved Ralph. Ralph's a cool dude. He's a really good guy, and he's a real thespian, Shakespearean actor, and we just hit it off straight away. He's a good guy, and he's done a lot of work in New York. So I was always talking to him and asking him about stuff that he'd done, and we just clicked. You know, I always knew that when I was in a scene with him, that I could rely on him, and you have to be able to know that you can do whatever and they'll take what you give them and throw it right back at you. And you know, and it was like tennis, because we'd ping pong it off each other and always giving new takes. And he was just a good guy, always on it, always trying his best, always none of the outside world was, I don't think anybody brought any troubles or anything else on set. Everybody was really on it, and Ralph was a good guy. Really, really good guy.
Did you do a lot of scenes with him?
Yeah, we did loads of scenes. One of my favourite scenes that we actually did was when we get tipped off. We're being transported and we're going to get tipped off and into this. I think it was a pit or something. And we're going to die. And he goes, okay. And Neil's like there and it's shaking. It's like, and the door's opening and you see all the sunlight, and then it starts tipping up, and then you're falling out, and then we were like, and me, Ralph, and Christina just kind of like went with it, and we're like, like we're falling out of this thing, and it was like, and Neil was just doing it just to mess with us, but we all went with it, and he was laughing his head off, and when we are like pretending that we're falling out of this thing, it was like Batman and Robin from the 60s or something like that, and it was hilarious. But we all still went with it, and then afterwards laughed. You know, it was good. That's it's good when you can have a cast that just does that. You know, no questions and no yeah, and you can, you know, there's no believe in, I can't think of, what is it, when you, anyway, yeah, what is it,
all on the same page.
Yeah, we're all on the same page when you're all on the same page, and you don't worry about what anybody's thinking. Yeah, we all just went with it.
Like a little family.
Yeah. Well, it always is. It's always a bubble. I always say that to my friends. It's always, when you get on set or on a show, it's always a bubble, and they become your family, like a really close family in every set. And I think it's great because you join and you with these actors that you wouldn't usually get in other jobs. You know, you connect with people really well, and it's good. And then you often make friendships for life, you know, with them. So that's good.
What about Christian Anderson?
Christian, yes, I was reading the script for Starship and Drayson, and I kept on reading it, and for some reason Christian kept on coming into my head, and I was like, he'd be perfect for this, and I said to Neil, hey, my friend Christian, he's really cool. Can I send you his demo and think of him for Drayson? And I think Neil already had somebody in mind for Drayson or something. And he was like, oh, well, sure, but I'll have a look. And then Christian ended up getting the thing. And now he's just so right for it. He was, you know, like when somebody is born for a role, he was right for that. And he was great because he's crazy. In real life, he is mental. I mean... And he's a good mate of mine, so he won't mind me saying that. He'll probably be happy that I said that because it's true. Everybody who knows him, he's mental, and I love him to bits.
That was the guy from the photos that was like always posing like really... Yeah, I think I picked that just...
Yeah, he was always posing and doing stuff with his... He had this... he's got this tool, and I can't remember what it was. It's Space Tool that he had. And doing stuff, and he would try and crack me up just before a take. He would say stuff to me and make me laugh, which was good. I always loved working with Christian. It's like when I did a pickup with him recently, we had a fantastic scene that we did, and it's really good because he's a theatre as well. So he was on set. He was really really nervous about doing this film, and he was saying that. And he'd go through scenes with me. He's like, "What do you think?" I'm like, "Dude, you're amazing. Don't worry, just go with it. You know, you're fantastic." And he was so good. You know, straight away he hit the floor running and was just doing some amazing stuff.
So you, Ralph, and Christian are like a little trio.
Well, no, Christian was not with. Didn't do a lot of scenes with Ralph because Christian did a lot of scenes with me and EJ and Emmy, but not with Ralph. Ralph's storyline goes around a different way. Ralph's got his own storyline, and I've got my own storyline. Ralph and I come together at the end of the first movie. Our storylines kind of really come together, and then that's how. But we were already on set, Ralph and I, a lot of the time filming, so we just got on. So he'd be good because he'd be like asking me what I thought of a take when he was doing his takes, and it was not a scene that I was in. And I'm like, I thought it was amazing, you know, do this, do that. It's not my place to direct, but, you know, if somebody asks you something, then you'll say to him. And he was really up for... Like, some actors would never ask anybody else, oh, what do you think of this? But we had that trust between us that he'd ask, and I'd say, oh, you know, why not this? You know, what do you think of that? I'm like, you know... And because some people just... As well, some people just come and do the job for the money and go. It wasn't like that with Ralph. He was there for the work and to better himself, I think, as well, you know, as an actor, which is, if you've got a cast that are doing that, that's great, you know. Somebody's having a laugh. Yeah. And it's always good if the cast wants to better themselves and do a good project, you know, do a good job. It always works great, and well, in my experience anyway.